Mr. Bingham, go back on the record.
Yes.
Call your next witness.
Your Honor, we call Mary Johnson.
Ms. Johnson, if you would please come on up here to the witness box area, and when you arrive there, please remain standing and face our court clerk. Her name is Susie. She's going to swear you in.
You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you. Please be seated. Would you state and spell your first and last name for the record, please?
Mary Johnson, M-A-R-Y-J-O-H-N-S-O-N.
Thank you.
And Ms. Johnson, if at any time you want some water, we got some there, and you can pour it for yourself. Go ahead, Mr. Bingham.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, where do you live?
In Mesquite, Nevada,
And where do you work?
at the Virgin Valley Water District.
And how long have you worked there?
It'll be 21 years in September.
21 years. Does that include time with Virgin Valley Water District's predecessor in interest, or has all of that been with the Virgin Valley Water District?
No, Mesquite Farmstead
Okay.
Association.
Did you work at Mesquite Farmstead with George Benish?
Yes,
And then it's my understanding that George Benish was involved in the formation of the Virgin Valley Water District.
correct.
And so the two of you, it's safe to say, came over to the Water District together from Mesquite Farmstead.
Yes,
Does the district keep records of documents, records of agreements, those kinds of things?
yes,
Who at the district is in charge of maintaining or keeping those records?
I am.
Does the district regularly also keep copies of billing statements from counsel for the water district?
Yes,
Are you also in charge of those?
yes,
Are you familiar with the term custodian of records?
yes,
Is that through past involvement the water district has had in other matters unrelated to this one?
yes,
And who is the custodian of records at the Virgin Valley Water District?
I am.
Okay. We talked about George Benish. Do you know when George Benish represented the Virgin Valley Water District? Can you give me roughly the years?
From Mesquite Farmstead through 2009.
Okay. And so the water district, as I understand, was formed in 1993, is that right?
Correct.
And was George Benish representing the water district then from the formation of the district all the way through 2009?
He was, yes.
During that time, how would you describe George Benish's role in relation to the water district?
He was the district's legal counsel.
Are you familiar with the term general counsel?
Yes,
Is your understanding of general counsel that he basically handled all
Objection, leading.
What is your
Hold on a second. What position do you have there at the water district?
I'm the administrator.
And can you describe what the job duties of the administrator or your job would be, please?
I work with the board and I do packets and agendas and get those out. I do payroll, I do the filing, I open the mail, I do accounts payables. I keep track of well readings and things like that.
All right. Well, I think that she has a knowledge base to conceivably answer this question. So I'll just tell you, Ms. Johnson, if you feel as though you have knowledge to answer a question that's posed to you, then go ahead and answer it. But if at any time you feel like you just don't really have a knowledge base, just let me know. Okay? Go ahead, Mr. Bingham.
Mary, as I understand the water district staff, there's several individuals that work kind of in the front office of the water district. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you have responsibility over the front office of the water district?
I don't.
You attend all of the water district meetings, is that right?
Yes,
You prepare all of the minutes from the meetings?
yes,
In connection with your employment at the water district, are you the one that works closely with the general manager on administrative matters?
yes,
Was that for Mike Winters while he was the general manager of the water district?
Correct, yes.
And did that continue after Mike Winters, his employment terminated?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to observe George Benish's interactions with the water district from the time it was formed until 2009?
Yes.
And how would you describe George Benish's role at the water district?
He was our legal counsel. He attended meetings once in a while, not that often until about 2009, I would say. He did agreements for the district. He formed the employees' employment contracts.
Would it be safe to say that he handled virtually all of the district's legal work for the time that he was there from the district's formation until 2009?
Objection, speculation, and leading.
Well, I think she has a knowledge base to answer that, plus your prior question about what her understanding of general counsel would be. I mean, she was there for the whole time. She worked with the guy who was at the meetings. She was at the meetings. Go ahead.
Did you understand my question?
Yes, I answered yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Benish also have communications with Virgin Valley Water District staff?
Yes.
Who would he communicate with most?
Mostly Mike Winters.
Who was the general manager, correct?
Yes.
Was that throughout the entire time that he was there, from what you observed, that George Benish primarily interacted with the general manager?
Yes.
Were those communications that were taking place outside of public meetings?
Yes.
Would you say the majority of those conversations took place outside of public meetings?
Yes.
Where is your office located in relationship to the general manager's office?
Right beside it. There's a door between us.
Can you hear things that, if, for example, the general manager is on the phone while you were at the water district, could you overhear what was being discussed?
I could.
If a call if a call came in from George Benish, let's say, to contact Mike Winters, the general manager, would that call go through you?
Sometimes, but most of the time it would be from one of the girls out front would answer it.
Okay. From what you were able to observe, were Mike Winters and George Benish, and I know you couldn't hear George Benish, but from what you could overhear from Mike Winters, were you able to hear what they were discussing, what kinds of things generally they were discussing?
If I was really paying attention, yes.
Did you ever have occasion to pay attention and notice, and I'm not asking for something specific, I'm just trying to get at if they were discussing something you would consider to be a legal matter for the water district or some other
It would be district business.
Okay. Is it your understanding, based on what you overheard and your observation of the interactions, that they were discussing the legal representation that George Benish was providing to the water district?
Yes.
Did George Benish send billing statements to the water district for his work?
Yes, he did.
Who did those bills go to?
The mail is sent in and I open it and I stamp it received and enter it in accounts payable, and then I give them to the general manager to approve for payment.
Has it always worked that way since you've been at the water district?
Yes.
So you stamp them received, and then the general manager reviews them and approves them, and then the bill is paid. Is that
Correct.
and does the district then keep those records?
Yes.